Welcome to Factorio. Let's start automating. My name is Nila, so this is episode 38 of our Let's Play. And notice this is a special episode because this is going to be the final episode of the series. And what we're going to do is we're going to review the base as if it was someone providing a base for me to review. So we're going to go through the things that work, the things that didn't work, the things that you can do, and some of the lessons learned, and also some of the transitions, and as well as taking a look at what would happen from here if we were continuing, or if you want to continue yourself from here. So maybe you feel this is sad that we are ending this series, but this has never been intended to be a mega base series. Then I would have designed it in a very different way, and this has been designed and scaled exactly for where it is now, and I am super happy about this base. I think it's okay, that was not what I wanted. I am super happy about this build because it is basically everything you need in a Factorio base, and wrapped up really nicely in a confined space. And of course, if I wanted to make it bigger, I would make certain different choices. So let's go in and let's go the out view again. Let's take a look back from where we started, just to get a sense of how this whole thing worked. Also, let's just, for good measure, so that we keep the base running, just research some of the signs that we haven't really used. So we started down here in this area. We have, as you can see here, this is still our old build. This is now out, actually. Very interesting, and also not so interesting, the fact that I'm now disabling. I said I wouldn't build anything, but now I kind of have to. There. Is that even not, if it's not even inside our logistics network? There. So that should be done. And so the idea here is this. This is where we started. We had our coal, our, was that copper iron? That's copper. Great. Science is working really well. Our copper, we had our iron down here, and we built our little jumpstart base right at this location. None of it is left. We still have our spaceship, wrecked spaceship. You can see here, this one has been changed from using coal to using only whatever we have remaining in terms of the wood we harvested. And of course, that's not really working anymore because they don't have anything. So this is completely idle and derelict. Transition in terms of power. Yes, we started with our coal-based power or steam engines, transitioned into solar power, and as we started going into modules and beacons, the solar just, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't scale, but you need like a lot of solar. So we went into nuclear power, and that's basically where I would see your ending, because there's no other options. You add more nuclear power, or you add more solar power, depending on sort of what you prefer to do in the base. Oh, there's something in there. Doesn't matter. So basically, when we have built our starter base, great. I'm just gonna research some other things just to get all this through. When we did that, we came up here and started building these smelting columns. I am super happy about the smelting columns, with one exception. So back in the beginning, I said that we wanted 4 lanes of iron and some lanes of steel and 4 lanes of copper, but then reserve space for 4 additional lanes of copper. And I know that a lot of people were like, what? That's not enough iron. And truthfully, it wasn't quite enough. This is a bit overscaled compared in copper compared to the iron. I would have liked to have 6 lanes of iron, because that would 6 lanes of red belt iron would be 4 lanes of blue belt iron, and I think that would be the better suggestion, or the better build for this this size here. This one, I don't think this is the wrong size. I think actually it's pretty good size, because by the end of it, yes, perfect. We're just gonna alternate a bit between these two. In the beginning, you're needing a lot of iron, because all of your belts, all of your inserters, all of your assembling machines, you just need a lot of iron. While in the end, when you start launching rockets, actually, we're not launching rockets. Oh yeah, we are launching rockets, but we're just not launching rockets because it's stuck. We're not researching anything that uses the space science yet. So yeah, in the end, when we start using a lot more circuits, and because red circuits need a lot of copper as well. Green circuits, yeah, it's a bit more copper than, well, 50% more copper than iron, but red circuits needs additional. A lot of it goes into blue circuits. And on top of that, low density structures require 20 copper. So you actually need a lot more copper in the end than compared to iron. That's so. But this one, I'd like to have 2 more here. Maybe take this out. I think I overscaled my steel, which is so rare to say. And then we went into building our bus. I deliberately built a very small bus here, so that there's a lot of. Normally, I would leave much more space so that I could have 8 lanes of iron, 8 lanes of copper, 4 lanes of green. I would build it like this, but I really wanted to design this base to a certain level. And instead of building it too big where lots of lanes would be empty, already now there's a lot of empty space here in the beginning. But as you can see at the end, we are using pretty much all of the base, no, not pretty much. We are using every single lane here. The only lane we had residual was this one where we used it, where it came in quite handy, to be honest. There. We're just continuing on this research as fast as we can. Let's have a look. So we are researching science and everything looks kind of working really well. We have our green circuits here. One of the parts about the green circuits, you can keep scaling this one up, and right now this is about as much as you can get on a single line here. This is taking it's taking 60, in the best of cases, it can take 60 iron, 60 copper inbound on either side, so 120 copper inbound. That's going to give us 80 outbound here, and we're going to get 90 in here. Yeah, okay, so we can actually, with this build, if it's big enough, we can actually have 2 blue belts of blue circuits. Sorry, 2 blue belts of green circuits coming out. Whew, that was a tough one. We have our hub. I think this works really well, and I would not recommend trying to rebuild this yourself. All of these builds, like let's just walk through it. All of these builds are available from my masterclass, and they're pretty much the same. They're just slightly better. I have one masterclass for science, which contains all of the science builds. I have one for green circuits, one for red circuits, one for the hub, one for oil. Plastic I have. Sulfur I don't have yet, but I'll get it. One for nuclear, one for rocket parts. Blue circuits, yes. Don't have batteries or solar because it's kind of a small build. I have a brand new one for military. Basically, when I built this one, I was like, you know, this doesn't feel right. This must be better. This must be possible to do better. So I have all what you see here. I also one for smelting as well. So everything you see here is actually built based on my masterclass builds, and this is also where I wanted to take this base, is just to illustrate how easy and robust it is when you take these optimized designs and put them into your normal base. Of course, if you want to move further, then it's going to be some different designs, and that's really interesting as well. One of the things in terms of perimeter defense, now don't have a masterclass on perimeter defense. You can see I have chosen 2 different options and try to illustrate both of them. Yay, I love the fact that science is just rolling through. Let's get some purple science going as well for this one here. I want to get if we can get all of the science done, all of the non-infinite science, that would be nice. So I have the 2 patterns. One is you go outside and you build a little wall around your location that will defend itself. It has the limitation that after a certain number of attacks, such as what's happening down here, then they both run out, they get a bit damaged, and you don't have any way of fixing it. So that's one way, and that has the disadvantage. It allows you to go like really far away, but when it needs to be either repaired, rebuilt, or just resupplied with ammo, then you need to go out unless you do something interesting in terms of like trains with supplies and all that good stuff. But generally these are not for that. They're just out there, but we know that they're the ones producing the most of the pollution, so they'll be the ones that will be attacked first, so you would put defenses. The other alternative you have in terms of how to build perimeter defense is more robust, I would say. This is now all within our logistics network, so robots will come repair by themselves, and you have like a common belt. I don't even know where it is. It's coming up here, which will just feed the entire line, which means that's a giant waste of ammo. But on one hand, I mean, there's a giant waste of ammo on one hand, but on the other hand, you're also just making it available. Now, I would not recommend using this particular pattern for your defense. I have some better ones in my masterclass about grid aligned blueprint. There is a really good perimeter defense because it also includes radars. The issue with this one is that when spitters spit on the gun turrets, they will actually hit the substation, and hitting the substation, if that breaks, then you lose the whole row generally, but you can at least. Also, this doesn't include flamers. I would highly recommend using flamers if you have sort of any kind of expanding biters, because flame turrets are just the absolute best in terms of biter defense or perimeter defense. So let's see what else. Other things that we sort of have learned from this. I'm not really liking, I mean, I mentioned that I would have liked to have 6 lanes of iron. I would also like to have a bit more space, so I could, instead of forcing this one up to blue belts, then I would have preferred to build 2 of these next to each other. But I didn't want to leave room in the beginning. We'll just go like, yeah, okay, we're going to leave some space and come back to it in 15 episodes. I didn't feel that was sort of the tone of this series. So we had to build it like this, the hub. One of the things that I recommend is doing is building circuits on one side. You can see here, I have the circuits and the hub on the same side, and then building all the signs on the same side, because then you can take all the signs out sort of on the back of the builds and go in here. So basically you can see red, green, military, blue, yellow, and purple, and then space signs. Now, where you then put your military hub, your plastic, your oil, your sulfur, that's totally up to you where you want to build it. It's probably better to build it close to where your oil comes in. So it's on the perimeter defense, and as you can kind of see, we are researching everything at about as fast as we can. Of course, we're not doing military science, so all of this is not really consuming. We can launch a rocket just for the hell of it, and just to really kick the base into gear again. Let's forcefully take a rocket. I'll do that one and go if it's less than. How much we got? 2K. 2,000. There. Now it launches a rocket. I'm not just going to stand a bit away because it's really loud. But I'd really prefer having this one as an automatic launch controlled by circuits. And that should get the whole base sort of a bit more active, which we like to see here at the very end of the line. So let's talk about what I would do if I was continuing this base, or maybe more relevant, if you want to continue this base, because I make all my save games available to patrons. So if you are a patron of the channel, thank you very much. This is basically, I have not been promoting the patronage during this series, but it is basically the most important part of sort of enabling me to continue doing this as a full-time thing, is the patronage of the community supporting what I do here. So yeah, because ad revenue is fickle at best. So thank you very much to all the patrons. If you are a patron and you want to continue, then just click something. Then you can download the map and you can continue building. So from here, we're going to talk about what I would or you can do to scale this base up, because it's actually quite difficult. I have not enabled anything to really scale it up. So it's going to be difficult. So basically the answer is, what are you going to scale? Everything. So let's talk about what you want to do first. First things first, you don't have enough scaling, don't have enough smelting. So you can either move the smelting out to a different location. So maybe build like a dedicated location up here. You can take some of these copper into a copper smelting. There's tons of materials on the map. You can also just look at these things and say, you know, I'm going to take these 3 things in to build a giant iron smelter here, or look at something else like this one could be a good steel smelter. Bring it in by train. At this point, since you're building it outside, you could build it, you probably should build it with electric furnaces. I don't think that, well, no, this base cannot support currently making it fully modules and beacons, because we simply just do not have enough modules and beacons. We don't have any modules and beacons working on this base. Why are things just not working in this base? Come on. build faster. This base is performing too well. We just launched the rocket, and yeah, okay, it's because I haven't set any modules around it. So this one is launching rockets really slowly. That's why the draw is not very much. But that's fine. We're not launching rockets faster than this. And yeah, so first thing would be outsourcing the smelting. Also, coal is, I mean, we are getting this coal, so we have enough coal, but at this point, it's a good time to start going away from coal-powered smelting. And then once you have much more smelting, you will have an issue that if you pull it in here, maybe by trains, probably by trains, you can sort of replace this area here with trains inbound, so that the trains come in and unload on the belts instead. Then you're going to face the issue that a lot of what you bring in is just being brought in to build green circuits. So the next thing would be probably taking your, let's say, new copper and new iron and combining it into, I don't know, where that could be. It could be down here, or it could be over here into a new, or it could even be up here, new green circuit build, and then bring the green circuits back. Then you could bring more belts back of green circuits, so you don't have, so that these belts of iron coming into the base are now dedicated to the rest, and these lanes of copper dedicated to the rest instead of dedicated to green circuits, because you're now getting the green circuits in. That's a way to scale up the base by basically saying your raw materials can now go further down the line. At that point, that's where you can start scaling up the science. All the science need to be faster. Right now, the super ironic thing is that it's actually the red and green science, the easiest science, that's our bottleneck. Really ironic, I think. Let's take that one. That's the last one using purple science. That would be that one. After the green circuits, then you can scale up the science in the base, and then from there on, I would say you want to build a dedicated red circuit build, because this is it takes a lot of space. Alternatively, you can also build a dedicated oil base and then bring plastic in instead. Plastic isn't really a big deal here, but if you have your, let's say, our hypothetical copper situation here, you have your green circuits. I mean, I'm just taking examples. Then you could take the copper, the green, and then build a plastic out of this one, plastic build, and you can combine those into a red circuit build, which means you can then bring the red circuits back on the bus, and again, you will have fewer things built off the bus, and that means the resources you have on the bus can then be dedicated to things that still are here. So this one can be scaled up radically. We never even put any lights on this one. That's a bit disgraceful, isn't it? It is. Or that one, for that matter. So that's basically how you would scale this one up, and then tapping more oil, that kind of goes without saying, and then you can scale up the rocket fuel, and from there on you have a base that is performing, I'd say, twice as much. When it comes to power, well, it's super simple, because you can just stamp out. I would definitely, in this case, just landfill this area outwards here. You can build like 1, 2, 3, at least 3, maybe even 4 without even going in here, and just let the robots bring it in. It's so few. It's 1 material every 200 seconds. So even for this, it's 1 material every 50 seconds. So it's nothing that's going to strain your robots in any way. It's just feeding this. Doesn't really matter about the distance. Just bring it over, bring it back. You can also expand your solar power if you like, and just take wherever space you have and just convert it into solar power. That's another big issue. So I'm this base has done exactly what I wanted to. I hope that it has been really helpful for you as maybe a new player, or maybe a returning player, or maybe just someone who wanted to just have a bit of walkthrough. I hope that, at least judging from the comments, I think there's a lot of people who have learned a lot of things from this base. And there's also been a lot of people who have been more focused on a misplaced underground belt. It's okay, that happens, and I'll probably eventually find it. And if not, then it's probably not going to be that bad. So there will always be like these small things that in a base. So what happens from here? Well, masterclass videos. I will now have more time to do masterclasses. So I have some big masterclass projects that I've just not been able to do because I'm maintaining 2 Let's Plays at the same time. That's too much for me. And that means I can focus more on train tutorials and circuits. Those are big topics that need a lot of preparation. And as well as my Death World series. So if you want to you're going to, oh, I wanted to see this base grow, then I would highly recommend taking a look at my Let's Play that started about a month ago, running 4 times a week, called The Great Escape. It's a Death World series where I start off from a base that is performing basically at this level. It is not as neat as this one, but then it's on a Death World, so there's lots and lots of biters, and then from there on I try to sort of fix all the constraints that are when you have a base that's like this, just designed to launch 1 rocket. And then I want to transition into a base that can launch rockets faster, because I need to launch like, I don't know, 400 rockets or something. Is pretty much what I'm looking at this point. Oh, did we get another one? We got another one. How many we still need? We still need like a ton of those. Yeah, we're not gonna get all of them. There's still 2 here, and that's the last one of this one. That's 2 of those, 2 of those, 3 of those, 3 of those. Yeah, okay, that's a ton of these military signs that maybe there's even too many, but there's a lot of those. So I would recommend following that series. That also means, so Factorio wise, we on YouTube here we have the continuation of our master classes on a weekly basis, sometimes maybe even more. I have my recaps of my Twitch base, coming back to that, and I have my Let's Play Death World, The Great Escape. I highly recommend taking a look at that one. That's going to continue moving forward. And well, I mentioned the recaps from Twitch. I'm also streaming live on Twitch. It's Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. So do come by, check it out. It's a different base. It's a different setup. There are some really cool Twitch interactions, and that base is now reaching sort of I wouldn't call it mega base, but it certainly is launching rockets every couple of minutes. So it's a pretty decent sized base. And that also means that I now have time to do some other non-Factorio stuff. So do check out the channel as for the upcoming weeks, months, to see what other stuff I'm doing. I'm going to be focusing more on new games coming out as well. So I also need the time for that. So we are going to wrap this one up. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Just a recap: the save game is available to patrons. Blueprints are all readily available for everyone. They are part of the masterclass videos, so you can get all of these. Pretty much, I think, all these blueprints just by looking through the masterclass. You can join the Discord. There's links to all the different masterclasses and all direct links to all the blueprints as well, so that's easier. I think that's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching. It's been great to see. This channel has brought in a lot of new viewers to the channel, so welcome to all the new viewers as well. Hope you want to hang out, and if you've been watching this whole series and you haven't subscribed, well, maybe now is the time, right? I think it's time now. I think so. So I'll see you guys in upcoming Let's Plays, other Let's Plays, YouTube, other YouTube videos, Discord, Twitch, wherever, on Twitter even. I'll see you guys. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you next time. Until then, take care and stay effective.